This section discusses the 6 steps in analyzing and interpreting qualitative data. These steps are not always taken in sequence, but they do represent preparing and organizing the data for analysis, as well as engaging in an initial exploration of the data through processes of coding it, representing the findings through narratives and visuals, and making interpretations by the meaning of the results. The first step towards analysis is obviously collecting the data. The researcher collects the data and compiles it into text files such as field notes or transcriptions. Then the researcher prepares the data for analysis, transcribing the field notes. Then after that, the researcher reads through the data and codes it in order to be used in the final report. And finally, the researcher codes the text to be used as a description or as a theme in the final report. Collecting and coding the data can be done simultaneously, whereas reading and preparing the data must be done independently. Next, how do we prepare and organize that data for analysis? In organizing your data, there are many different methods that can be taken. One such is developing a matrix or a table that can be used to help organize the material. Organizing the material by type also helps. You can separate all interviews into one section, all observations into another, and etc. Never ever forget to make duplicate copies of all forms of data. That way, if you were to lose your copy, then you have an extra one waiting for you. The next step is to transcribe the data through a process called transcription. This process is converting audio tape recordings or field notes into text data. You can do this using transcriptionists, or you can transcribe the files yourself, which take considerably longer amounts of time. If you were to analyze by a computer, there are many different software techniques that you can use to transcribe and compile your data. Some examples of this include Atlas.ti, HyperResearch, and MaxQDA, all of which are excellent resources to use when compiling and transcribing your data.
After you have your data organized and everything in place, it's time to explore it. You should look at it, think about the organization, and consider if you need more data. It's recommended to write memos on the margins of transcripts or photos just to help yourself with the process of exploring it. The next step would be coding your data. Coding is the process of segmenting and labeling text to form descriptions and broad themes in the data. This is cited from our textbook. According to Tess and Creswell, it's good to write down ideas as they come to mind. Choose one document at random and write down anything that you think of. Ask questions such as what are they talking about? You may want to write down any meanings that come to mind. Start coding the document. Identify text segments. Place brackets around them. Assign a code word that will describe the text segment. A text segment is a group of sentences or paragraphs that are related to a single code. Codes can refer to different topics such as setting and context, perspectives held by participants, activities, relationship, and social structure. Make sure to group similar codes and to reduce the list of codes as small as possible. You want to get from 5 to 7 themes, which are codes grouped together. It's useful to have themes in order to be able to write a report providing detailed information than just a lot of information in general about everything.
Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about using codes to build description and themes. The first step will be to begin identifying themes that have emerged from your data. Themes form a core element in qualitative data analysis. These themes should answer the major research questions and give a better understanding of the central idea through its thematic development. Themes should have labels that are no more than 2 to 4 words. For example, the community or campus resources. Through data analysis, you may find anywhere from 30 to 50 codes, but what you want to do is reduce these codes down to about 5 or 7. Although there are several types of themes, they're usually identified in 4 categories. 1. Ordinary themes. 2. Unexpected themes. 3. Hard to classify themes. And 4. Major and minor themes, which I believe all to be pretty self-explanatory. Some important keywords to consider when developing themes are analyzing data for contrary evidence and analyzing data for saturation. If you are someone who likes to go above and beyond, you can add a little bit of spice to your study by layering themes or interconnecting them. Moving on to descriptions. When it comes to descriptions, developing detail is important. The goal is to build a portrait of individuals or events. Descriptions is what will help the reader visualize and really put themselves in that position. Some good ways to get better description within your study are using direct quotes, passages from short stories, and illustrations or photographs. Asking in-depth questions when analyzing data is a good way to develop better descriptors, and although it takes experience and practice to describe the detail in a setting, with a little bit of time and patience, you'll be on the right track to producing not only quality descriptions of your data, but effective and solid themes as well.
Representing and reporting findings can be compared to visualizing and documenting your fitness workouts. Let's say your doctor asks you to develop a workout regime and report to her the outcomes within a month. The first thing you'll probably do is plan how to represent your findings. You might start by creating a comparison table that could show what burns the most calories. Develop a hierarchical tree diagram that incorporates one of your workout themes, such as weightlifting, or you may present figures that show connections among themes such as fat burning, specific exercises, and repetition. You could include a map of the gym you attend to provide your doctor with a better understanding of the environment you're working in and provide a demographic table of the individuals who work out in that gym when you do. To report your outcomes, you'd want to take all the information you've compiled in your journal and write a summary that includes supporting information for why you chose your workout themes. You can utilize metaphors to relate the information to your doctor's understanding, include quotes from a personal trainer to capture their feelings and emotions on your progress, and report multiple perspectives written in vivid detail. Finally, you can specify any tensions or contradictions you and other individuals may have had during your fitness development process. Accomplishing these tasks will explain what you found in response to your doctor's request for you.
Now that you have your data, there's only one thing left to do: analyze it. Basically, what you're trying to do is check that your collected data answers your research question. And also, you're trying to explain how this collected data answers your research question. It's okay to be overwhelmed, but in order to help you, here are 4 easy steps that you can follow. Number 1. Summarize findings. This would be a recap of your major findings. You might want to state each research question and provide accurate data that answers it. Number 2. Convey personal reflections. By now, you're supposed to be an expert. You should feel comfortable in sharing about the meaning of your data and how it answers your particular research question. Number 3. Make comparisons to your readings and literature. Hopefully, you've read a lot. And, more hopefully, your data aligns to what is expected. If it doesn't, you might want to start looking as to why not. Number 4. Offer limitations and future insight. Nobody's perfect. Be sure to point out your limitations and offer the next scientist some pro tips.